In the vast world of animation, copies have always existed. But rarely has there been such a shameless, blatant, and at the same time epically failed case as Miracle Star. This Chinese show tried to steal everything from the amazing world of Gumball, thinking they could fool audiences and get away with it. Instead, what they got was a monumental disaster. Laughably low ratings, international mockery, and even a drop in goat milk sales, the very product the show was meant to promote. Today, we're diving into the story of how Miracle Star was born, how it tried to stand on Gumball's shoulders, and how it ultimately collapsed. Get ready, because this is one of those stories that sounds like a joke, but is actually a huge lesson about the value of originality. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell, because here we always explore the strangest, wildest, and most fascinating stories in pop culture. It all began back in 2010. The giant dairy company Soon Foods, one of the largest in China, was searching for a project that wouldn't just entertain kids, but would also double as a massive advertising campaign to push goat milk sales. Their plan was simple: create a children's show that would capture millions of young viewers and turn them into loyal consumers. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, a gem was shining brightly: the amazing world of Gumball. With its adorable characters, clever humor, and unique blend of animation styles, Gumball was quickly becoming a worldwide sensation. And as happens with every big hit, it was only a matter of time before someone tried to copy it. On December 10th, 2014, Miracle Star finally premiered. Its main characters were Kiki, a mischievous boy, his pet frog Guagua, and his two parents. Sound familiar? That's because Kiki was nothing more than a knockoff of Gumball. Guagua filled the role of Darwin, and the parents were blatant copies of Richard and Nicole. The only character missing was Anais, and speculation suggests that might have been due to China's one-child policy, censorship, or simply a cultural preference for male characters. Whatever the case, the absence had nothing to do with originality. It was just adapting to local restrictions. But the problems went much deeper than that. Right from the start, Miracle Star didn't just borrow ideas, it outright cloned them. Kiki and Guagua had the same round eyes, the same facial shapes, the same expressions as Gumball and Darwin. And it wasn't just them. Secondary characters like Masami, Bobber, and Leslie also had their doppelgangers. No one in Gumball's world was safe from being duplicated. And the copying didn't stop with character designs. Entire scenes were reproduced shot for shot. They recreated famous sequences like Gumball and Darwin's arguments about money and responsibility. Or the iconic phone call scene. They even made their own knockoff version of Bobber, which was so blatant it bordered on parody. The imitation was so obvious that it seemed like they weren't even trying to hide it, assuming that the language barrier would protect them. Sometimes, entire plot lines were copied almost word for word, with just a slight twist to give the illusion of being new. But eventually, the Gumball creators noticed. And instead of dragging the whole thing into court with boring lawsuits, they took a far more creative route. They responded with an entire episode dedicated to mocking their copycats. That episode was fittingly called The Copycats. In it, Gumball and Darwin encounter their knockoff counterparts, Chi-Chi and Ribbit, Chinese TV stars who profit off repeating their every move. The satire was brutal. The Watterson family faces off against their fake clones, Anais realizes she has no double, and the whole thing culminates in a hilarious but scathing takedown.
Aparentemente, yo soy un hombre muy vago que siempre está en el sofá. Es súper torpe. Ríe y déjate mimar por él.
A ver la mía. Vaya, menuda madre. ¿A quién le importa que sea pesada? ¿A ti?
A ver cómo es mi doble.
Borrada. ¿Por qué? Porque no tiene derecho a celebrar nada en la República de la Gente. Alto, esto no es nada gracioso.
Exacto. Y yo no formo parte porque soy una chica.
No, me refiero a que ellos tienen una serie de televisión y nos están copiando. Mirad. Porque así lo has decidido tú. No tenemos ni un céntimo y ellos se forran a nuestra costa.
Vamos, no estamos tan mal.
The family even sings a song urging the copycats to be yourself. Try something new. Find your own thing to do. Of course, the knockoffs fail miserably, crashing and burning literally in one of the most savage endings Cartoon Network has ever produced. Fans loved it. What could have been a frustrating plagiarism scandal turned into one of Gumball's most memorable episodes, complete with music, a fight scene, heartfelt moments, and the dark but satisfying ending. Meanwhile, Miracle Star quickly became infamous. Critics tore it apart, audiences mocked it, and IMDb gave it one of the lowest scores ever for an animated series, a pathetic 1.3 out of 10. By November 10th, 2017, just 3 years after its debut, the show was officially dead. The irony, however, is that Soon Foods, the company behind it all, didn't collapse. Despite the embarrassment, they continued thriving as one of China's dairy giants. In the very year the show was canceled, they expanded further by acquiring the French margarine brand Saint Mer for 625 million euros. As of 2025, they're still going strong with a market value close to $1 billion. So, while Miracle Star became a global laughingstock and a textbook example of how not to make animation, Soon Foods managed to move on almost untouched, leaving the cartoon disaster behind. What do you think? Is it okay to take inspiration from another show, or is copying like this just straight up stealing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to know your take. And here's a fun fact to wrap things up. Even though Miracle Star officially ended in 2017, merchandise based on the show still floats around in China. Many kids have toys and products with Kiki and Guawa without even realizing they come from a series that was a blatant ripoff. In fact, some international collectors have started hunting for them as rare items, and prices for Miracle Star merch have skyrocketed online. Ironic, isn't it? Something that started as a cheap, shameless copy has ended up as a weird cult collectible. In the end, Miracle Star will forever be remembered as a cautionary tale of what happens when you copy instead of create, while Gumball stands tall as a symbol of originality and creativity, because in animation, copying won't make you great, but originality, that can make you a legend. And that's how an attempt to write on someone else's success turned into one of the biggest embarrassments in Chinese animation history. Miracle Star wanted to shine, but instead it fizzled out forever. Gumball, on the other hand, not only survived, but thrived, turning the existence of its clone into one of its most iconic episodes. Proof once again that creativity always beats imitation. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dives I have coming your way.